who is a local successful realtor, the host of 365 Atlanta, and a social media maven par excellence. She is also an expert on all things bacon and dark chocolate, and knows the best places to eat in Atlanta. And as a result, she has brought with her Eyester, who is the owner of two local establishments, the Family Dog and Rosebud, where I'm having dinner tomorrow night, and I understand it is absolutely off the hook. And they're going to talk to you about what we can learn from the hospitality industry and how we deal with our consumers. So would you please welcome Maura Neill and Eyester. Come on, step it up.
Good afternoon. So we're going to talk a little bit about food, so if you didn't get to go eat lunch, you're going to get a little hungrier.
Yeah, there's a ton of food in the backstage here.
Yeah. So, just kidding. I met Ron through my website, 365 Atlanta, and he has become one of my favorite chefs and social media personalities here in Atlanta. If you're not already following @TheAngryChef on Twitter, you probably want to do so even if you don't live here. It's entertaining. He has a great grasp on how to use social media to run his business and to promote his business. And so he's a really great one to look at if you're thinking about how you can make your business a little more like the hospitality industry. So let's talk a little bit about what people in this room can learn from the hospitality industry. It's become kind of a buzzword now that we don't sell houses. We're selling a lifestyle, and I think that you deal with that a lot in your...
Yeah, no, absolutely, and thanks for having me, first of all. But I think for me in particular, because I run a neighborhood establishment, it really allows me the opportunity. The previous speaker, I kept hearing the word relationship, and that's such an important part of what we do for a living, because we invest in the people who come in and support us. And there's nothing more gratifying than seeing the same people come in on a daily and weekly basis and getting to know them over the years. That really adds a lot of substance to our business. And in terms of social media and the relationship aspect, it's an amenity of my business that you really can't quantify with dollars. It doesn't go into profit and loss statement, but it really enhances the culture of what I'm trying to do. I have to believe that anyway. That's my mantra of how I approach running my business.
Right, so what I'm hearing is you're not using social media and calculating the ROI constantly, which is something that I know Jeff Turner talks a lot about. What's the ROI of social media? Well, you might not be able to quantify that, but it is more about establishing relationships.
Oh, absolutely. It's about kind of staying within the know. You know, I mean, when I see the hashtag #AngryChef floating all around, then I'm staying in the landscape. I'm not going to the background. And from a dining aspect, and I would imagine it's also from a real estate aspect, it's very busy out there. There are a lot of people trying to make their place, and I think the important thing to do is to be yourself. For me, I get personal fulfillment out of utilizing the social media aspect. It's almost therapeutic for me. So the fact that it also benefits my business is great, but again, going back to what you're saying, what I do for a living, it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. I eat, I live it, I breathe it. It's all about the restaurants.
Right. So going back to what you just said about being yourself on social media, pretty important. A lot of us, we hear it at conferences all the time that it's a little bit like the picture on your business card. You don't want it to be 20 years old so that when the person finally meets you face to face, they don't recognize you. I think personality on social media is the same, but you're a little bit of a controversial character on Twitter. So do you think that there's an advantage or a disadvantage to staying that true to yourself and sometimes putting out things that are a little racy or a little... Because when people meet you in person, you're the exact same person that they've met on Twitter.
Yeah, and for me, Twitter was two reasons. A, it was just a way to get engaged in social media, and then also, from a restaurant standpoint, I live in a world where people can come in at any given time, and we talk about this, because I have a computer, because I like to eat, I'm a food critic.
Right.
And restaurants have had to battle that very vigorously over the past few years. So the image of the angry chef is almost like a deterrent. If you're going to come to the restaurant, now don't get me wrong, I'm obligated and I embrace the opportunity to put out a quality product.
Absolutely.
But some people can't be pleased, and I have learned that. And, you know, unfortunately, it's not illegal for them to go to restaurants. We're working on that. But right now, I have to deal with them. So I think to establish the character, the angry chef, which is very much in tune with my personality, it definitely is accurate. However, like you said, you've been to Rosebud, you've seen me, I'm an ambassador of my concepts. I truly embrace the hospitality aspects of what I do. But at the same time, it doesn't, because one of the best things I ever saw, I was eating at the Inn at Little Washington, and there's a plaque above the kitchen, and it says, "The guest may not always be right, but the guest is always the guest." And that's always, I've always kind of positioned my outlook on how I view the guest around that quote. And I'm not afraid to tell the guests when they're wrong, or point it out. I'm really not. I'm going to do it in a respectful and sincere way. And I also think, you know, what we've had to deal with, you know, all of us with the economy over the past few years, all the uncertainty, what's wrong with just embracing some of the humorous aspects of what go on around us? I can't help it that I'm in a great position to point out all the stupid shit people do in restaurants.
You're just saying the things that everyone else is thinking. Especially if you've ever been a server or a cook or worked in on restaurant staff.
I think the people who actually know me and they come in, because there's nothing better than when someone at the restaurant goes, "I'm really good friends with the owner." You know, and they have no idea who he is. And I
There's no reservations on Friday night at 7 o'clock for
Exactly.
people. I know the owner.
Exactly. You certainly can put me somewhere. So, that being said, you know, I think people have come to respect the fact that it's very transparent, and that's what I try to be on social media. And again, what the previous speaker talked about is that social media is not just for broadcasting. You know, you should put your personality out there, and not only put yourself out there, but engage with people. I think one of the most really valuable things on Twitter is paying attention to what other people are saying, responding to some of those thoughts, and then it's really entertaining and also very sometimes informative, all the different conversation threads that form based on one tweet that could have been several days ago.
Right, right. So talking about, you know, when every Tom, Dick, and Harry with a computer and a mouse decides that they're a food critic, on sites like Yelp, where you are getting reviewed now, and we are seeing that a lot more in our industry on sites like Zillow and even Yelp. What's your response when you get a negative or even a positive review? You don't ignore it. So what's your way of responding?
You don't ignore it. I think the most effective thing to do is for these sites to evolve is to engage all the responses. Sometimes it's hard to get to everyone, and you have to prioritize which one I really need to get to. The negative ones, I like to kind of validate the authenticity of these by asking them questions. Hey, who is your server? Did you bring your frustration to the attention of the manager? You know, because you never know. I mean, I've actually had a couple of instances where reviews were not validated. I had one review where someone was just aggravated that we weren't taking a certain promotion, and they just simply went home and wrote a bad review. They never even dined in the restaurant.
So it's a lot about asking the right questions to find out, A, if the response was warranted,
Exactly.
and B, what you can do about it to fix it for the next time. So, okay, well, we're quickly running out of time. Thanks to Bobby Howe down there with the time cards. So, since we have a chef on stage, I wanted to do a couple chef questions because he is one of my favorite guys, and I know you're interested in me, but I'm going to go ahead and ask him for anybody else. What's one can't live without you?
Microplane.
I'm very excited. So the microplane. All right. What's the biggest trend in your opinion in food right now?
Oh, wow.
I know it's really big.
Yeah, that's a big one. I think we're still holding on to the cusp of putting savory stuff in ice cream.
Okay.
Like
so
you said.
bacon?
Yeah, exactly. Bacon. I think that's a big one. And I hate to say the word trend, but what we do, the farm to table movement, you know, I tolerated being referred to as a trend because it still builds excitement. You know, for me, it's a lifestyle, and it's a very, very important concept to embrace and learn about because it really affects all of our local economies. But hopefully that's going to be something that keeps building momentum over the years.
5 ingredients you're going to take with you if you were stranded on desert island.
All right. Can 3 of them be alcohol? Grab on the egg. All right. peanut M&Ms. Thank you. And a nice hunk of good cheese.
There you go.
Okay, and your ideal last meal. Death row, or you know you're going to die tomorrow. It's morbid, but what's your...
My ideal last meal, Philly cheesesteaks with Jerry Garcia, somewhere in San Francisco, listening to some garage band trying to get their start.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
I hope you guys learned a little something. We do have a rather large party of people going to Rosebud tomorrow night.
Well, we got plenty of room for the rest of us.
I urge you to check out